Sometimes the biggest, most complicated ideas, well, they start to make sense because of a small, unexpected discovery. Today, we're going to unpack what a democratic government is really all about. And our story begins with a curious young girl, an old scrapbook, and a photograph that helped change an entire country. All right, let's get into it. So, our story starts in Johannesburg, South Africa. We're going to meet an 11-year-old girl who finds a piece of history that her mom had tucked away a long, long time ago. So, this is Maya Naidu. And one day, she's just helping her mom clean out some old stuff, going through boxes, when she finds this scrapbook. And inside, it's just full of these old, faded photos and newspaper clippings. And she notices one face keeps showing up over and over again. She was totally puzzled, so she goes to her mom and asks this really simple question that, it turns out, has a very, very complicated answer. Who was this boy in all the pictures? Who was Hector Peterson? And her mother's answer was just shocking. He was a schoolboy, only 15, just a few years older than Maya, and he had been shot and killed by the police. Maya was just completely stunned. I mean, how could something like that even happen? That question just hangs in the air, doesn't it? Why? Why on earth would police shoot a student? Well, the answer to that question takes us into a really painful part of South Africa's history. To really understand what happened to Hector, you have to understand the world that he lived in, a world that was run by a system called apartheid. Now, apartheid, the word literally just means separation. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But in practice, it was absolutely devastating. These laws divided the entire population of South Africa into 4 racial groups: white, black, Indian, and colored. And this wasn't some kind of social suggestion. This was the law. These groups were not allowed to live near each other. They couldn't use the same facilities. Just think about that. Separate hospitals with modern, well-equipped ambulances for white people and badly equipped ones for everybody else. Separate bus stops. On top of all that, non-whites couldn't vote, and the best land in the country was reserved only for the white population. So, here's the crucial thing to understand. Hector wasn't just some kid in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not at all. He was a protester. He and his fellow students were marching because they were being forced to learn Afrikaans in school, the language of the white government. They wanted to learn in their own language, Zulu. It was a protest for their culture, for their very identity. And on June 16th, 1976, police opened fire on those student protesters. Hector was killed. This horrific event came to be known as the Soweto Uprising, and it sent shockwaves across the entire globe. It fueled the fight against apartheid, a fight that was led for decades by groups like the African National Congress and its famous leader, Nelson Mandela. And then finally, after so many years of struggle, South Africa became a democracy in 1994. So Hector Peterson's story isn't just a tragedy. It's about the fight for a completely different way of running a country, a democratic one. So what does that actually mean? Let's break down the key pillars. A democratic government is, in a lot of ways, the complete opposite of the apartheid system. Instead of being built on separation and inequality, it's founded on a few huge ideas that are all designed to serve everybody. Okay, pillar number 1 is participation. And this is the big one. It's the core idea that the power belongs to the people. Under apartheid, most of the population had zero say. They couldn't even vote. In a democracy, the citizens get to choose their leaders through regular elections, which makes the government answerable to them. The second pillar is the resolution of conflict. Remember what happened in Hector's story? A protest was met with brutal violence. Well, a democratic government's job is to stop that. It's supposed to act like a referee, helping to solve disagreements peacefully and fairly, according to the law, whether it's a fight between 2 people or 2 giant groups. And finally, the third pillar, equality and justice. This is the direct answer to the horrible injustice of apartheid. Democracy is built on a promise that everyone is equal under the law and deserves to be treated fairly. It's a promise to never, ever again divide people based on their race or their background. All right, so that first pillar, participation, is a pretty big deal. It's so much more than just, showing up to vote every couple of years. Let's dig into what it actually looks like to participate. Voting is step 1, for sure. But being an active participant also means paying attention to what the people you elected are actually doing. It means having the freedom to criticize them when they mess up And it means using your voice through peaceful rallies, signature campaigns, and social movements to push for change, just like Hector and his classmates were trying to do. And all of this brings us right back to the most powerful promise of democracy, the one thing that was denied to Hector and millions of others, that simple promise of equality and justice. Here's a great way to think about it. A system like apartheid, it literally turns the world upside down. It's completely unnatural. It's a state where people are judged by the color of their skin, not who they are. Everything is just wrong. It's unjust. And here's the powerful shift. Democracy flips the world right side up again. It brings back a sense of balance because it starts with one simple, powerful truth. All people are equal, and they all deserve to be treated that way. You absolutely cannot have one without the other. They're totally inseparable. Justice is what happens when you treat people equally. If a system is unequal by design, it can never, ever be just. They are two sides of the very same coin. And real justice isn't just about treating everybody the same right now. It's also about fixing the inequalities from the past. A democratic government can actually create special provisions, like, say, lowering school fees for girls in a society that has historically not educated them, to actively promote fairness and give everyone a real shot at success. And really, that's what this is all about. The whole point of building a democracy is to create a society where a boy like Hector isn't shot for protesting, and a girl like Maya can grow up with the exact same rights and opportunities as anyone else. A society that's built on fairness and dignity. Hector Peterson's story started as a tragedy, but it ended with the birth of a new democracy. And it's a powerful reminder that government isn't something that just happens to us. We are all a part of it. So the final question I'll leave you with is this. What's your role in making sure that promise of fairness and justice is kept for everyone?